Excellencies, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and very good morning to you all. I would like to thank the Dawn Media for inviting me, inviting the Maldives and organizing this beautiful event today. Actually, Maldives has been very vocal in this special topic for a very long time. We had the first cabinet meeting underwater to emphasis on this point. Therefore, we have been very vocal in SEEDS, IOS, and many other platforms in the UN. And although we have succeeded in some ways, but we have a lot of work to do, unfortunately. So when we see between Maldives and Pakistan, of course, we share a lot of common points in terms of culture, in terms of religion and all, but in terms of geography, we are very different. Maldives is a very low-lying country. We are at a very vulnerable state. Most of the islands in the Maldives is only 1 meter above the sea level. So that's very low. We had been struck with the disaster tsunami in 2004, which led to huge consequences, and a lot of people died, and a lot of damage to the whole country, as well as Pakistan, but in a different way, similar consequences. For example, the 2022 floods, the glaciers melting, and other vulnerable situations in Pakistan leads to the same results: loss of lives and loss of crops and severe damage to countries. So we have to act, and we have to act fast and in a responsible manner. So both our countries, although, as I mentioned, we are different in geography and scale even, but we have to stand on the front line of climate vulnerability. So in Maldives, rising sea levels, we are threatened with long-term sustainability and coastal erosion and extreme weather situations directly impacting the tourism as well. The tourism is the main source of income to the Maldives. And climate change is an existential issue for the Maldives. And for Pakistan, floods with heat waves, water stress, large-scale humanitarian and economic impact happen due to climate change. So although Maldives contributes almost 0% in global emissions, greenhouse emissions, but we suffer the most. But at the same time, we try to be an example to the countries by implementing severe measures like His Excellency, the President of Maldives, Dr. Mohamed Thoha, stated that Maldives is committed by 2028 to go to transition the country in energy. So we are going to use at least 33% of our energy consumption from sustainable, renewable, clean energy by 2020. And we are very committed to work on. Also, by 2030, we are trying to achieve the net zero state. So we are, from our side, very much committed to this cause. Also, I would like to say, most of the time, vulnerable countries like us have limited negotiating power. Therefore, we have to work together. So when we are together collectively, our voice becomes stronger and it becomes more influential. So we have to push strongly for financing, adaptation financing, operationalization of loss and damage funding, accountability for climate commitments, and fair implementation mechanisms. So climate negotiations cannot remain focused only on distant targets, while vulnerable communities are facing immediate realities today. So we are not only lacking the funding, but we are also facing the difficulty of accessing. Although there are some funds promised to us, but we never receive it. So very complex application systems and very slow disbursement. There are technical barriers and huge delays between commitments and implementation. So we have to push for the implementation part. We have to emphasize. So adaptation is unfortunately not optional for us as vulnerable states. So it's a necessity for survival and resilience. So we call for simpler procedures and faster access for these funds, more grant-based financing, less debt-driven climate support, so that countries recovering from climate disasters cannot wait years for financial approval, while communities continue year by year to suffer like. So we global south should move beyond negotiations. We should focus on sharing our knowledge, sharing our platforms, technical cooperation, technology, capacity building, and practical implementation also. So in Maldives, we try to protect the marine ecosystem also while protecting the islands, the coastal erosion part. In Pakistan, I think huge disaster response systems are managed and climate recovery operations are done and large-scale humanitarian coalitions are being taken. So there is enormous value in countries of the global south learning directly from each other. So as previously I said that we are very, very much committed, although we are almost 0% in the global emissions. So we have already implemented a lot of renewable energy transition mechanisms and environmental protection and resilience building efforts. My final message is that the climate crisis demands not only urgency, but solidarity. Frontline nations must continue working together to ensure that global climate action becomes more accountable, more inclusive, and more responsive to the realities faced by vulnerable communities. The Maldives remains committed to working closely with Pakistan and the wider global south in advancing these shared objectives. Thank you very much.